So what we have here is we have a 2023 7.3 liter Godzilla, and what we're going to be doing to it is we're going to replace the camshaft. We're going to put a Texas Speed, their stage 1 camshaft. We're going to replace that. We're going to do some valve springs and some Johnson tie bar lifters, because they have had some issues with lifters, you know, D-lam on the roller and whatnot. All the manufacturers are having issues with lifters, you know, the last several years. So it's not just a Ford thing, so don't get mad at your Ford if you have that issue. It's just the world we live in, and you know, you just have to deal with it. So you know, if you have one of these engines, you might consider doing that so that you don't have that issue, or you might just run it and roll the dice on it. But I kind of followed this during the development, and I was pretty intrigued because, you know, by God, it doesn't have overhead cams and 2 cam phasers and a bunch of chains and, you know, all that monkey motion going on. So she's a big mother, you know, America. There's been, you know, a fair amount of development on this engine in the aftermarket, so people are testing and finding the limits of it. Essentially, this engine is new. It was a takeout for I don't know if it was in an F53 chassis or maybe an Econoline. Looks like Econoline motor mounts there, so cutaway Econoline. Bus company, apparently they're electrifying their bus fleet, and apparently Ford won't sell you a chassis without a motor. So anyway, that's how these particular engines wind up out here. And we've got the 6R140 with it too. So this is going in a project. I won't mention what it is right now, but I'll just tell you what we're going to be doing to it. We're going to be replacing the camshaft, like I said. We're going to do some valve springs, and we're waiting on a set of Johnson lifters so we can upgrade the lifters on it. And we're going to have to size length our push rods, because I believe the lifters, the spec on them was 30 thousandths preload, and we want to see if we can hit that dead on all the cylinders. Which, you know, if everybody machine, you know, if all the machines had the right ones and zeros in it, and all the tooling, and everybody was having a good day, which they should every day, everything should be, you know, that should be easily attainable. It's just it's not a big deal to do that, but you want to, I mean, I always, if I can, I'll shoot for perfection, especially if I'm living vicariously through someone else's wallet. You know, if they're willing to pay for it, then I'm willing to do it. So especially on something like this. But anyway, so 7.3 liters, forged steel crankshaft, overhead valve. Looks suspiciously, when you pull the valve cover off, I mean, it looks like an LS motor to me. So I mean, everybody's, you know, well, Chrysler and their Hemi, but you know, we're kind of using all the same technology here. We got die cast rocker arms, and it's beautiful. This particular engines, they have port fuel injection, you know, no direct injection. And I think the idea here, well, I know the idea here was simplicity and durability, and you know, I think they hit it, other than the lifter issues that we're hearing about. And guys have been pushing them pretty hard, and one way to test them is to push them pretty hard, you know, in the aftermarket, to find out how durable they are. They got a jack shaft that runs the oil pump. Of course, it has a variable orifice oil pump on it, so it can control the oil pressure, and it has all the other modern things that a modern engine has. You know, they've got piston cooling jets and powdered metal rods. I already mentioned the forged crankshaft, and it's a pretty nice little, well, not really a little package, but it's a pretty nice big package, and you know, built for durability. Horsepower, I believe, is 430 stock at 5,500, and then we're at 475 at 4,050 RPM. I mean, that's kind of a high peak for torque, but you know, this thing was made to work all day, you know, and probably burns lots of gas, I would imagine. But you know, it is it is an alternative to diesel, you know, if you're running a Super Duty. I mean, other than the potential issue that you might have with the lifters, you know, like I said, you might want to consider upgrading those lifters. You know, the cost of it is you know, yeah, who wants to buy a new vehicle and go through all that? But you know, the amount of money you're paying for these trucks now, you know, you know, $3,000 more or whatever, you know, to upgrade it, or 4,000 or whatever is a small price to pay if you don't want to have any issues. And you know, the problem with that is, yeah, you can replace the lifters, but where's all that metal? You know, I mean, it's not like it isn't all going to go through the filter or get hung up on the drain plug. You know, it's going through the engine and going through your bearings, and we don't want that. But like I said, we're gonna get going on this as soon as we get our lifters, and we'll go through the push rod length selection, and it's pretty easy to do that. A little bit time consuming, because you know, you're going to do every cylinder. You're not just going to grab a handful of push rods and, oh, this works, that works. We're going to actually try to hit our target, which we should be able to do if everyone at the plant was having a good day and all our tools were sharpened and our ones and zeros were all, you know, put in properly to our computers. So we're gonna get going on this, and you can follow along with it. I know there's quite a bit of interest in this engine out there, and I actually have my hands on one, and it's gonna be fun. So thanks.